Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. This is episode 271, which means we're pretty good at podcasting with consistency. But today's topic is some things that we maybe aren't that good at, some things that we are bad at that we've worked through and gotten better. Or maybe something that we realize that we're just bad at it and there's no getting better. Hopefully, we're on the other end of it where we are getting better at the bad things. Before we move on to the conversation about things we've gotten better at or things that we are just bad at, that are we improving, let's check in with Ceci and Irene to see how you're all doing today.
Hola, hola. Good aquí. It's Friday. It's the first of the month. It's crazy to think that it's November. It's a crazy busy, like weird week going Halloween and then kids getting sick because we're in that season. My husband's sick right now. And I have a full Friday, like back to back things going on today. Oh, and I'm running a 5K on Sunday. So I'm excited about that.
That is cool. That's awesome. Qué bueno. Is it like a Dia de los Muertos 5K?
No, it's like it's a Golden Gate run, no sé qué, Golden Gate run. It's a half marathon too, but I'm doing the 5K with some of my coworkers.
Qué bonito.
Yeah.
My kids are off today. They always get the day after Halloween. So we're chilling. I don't have a full day. This is the only thing I have today, which is nice. Remember we talked about last having to plan downtime? Like I don't necessarily plan downtime, but I know days that I was purposely don't put anything in there. Right? Like, oh, today looks clear. Let's leave it that way. So today's going to be chill.
That's probably something that you've gotten better with, right? Of like the planning the chill time.
I don't think I plan it. I like having light days and heavy days. I've always been that way. And then I used to not book things on Friday. And now I like Fridays. I'll use Fridays, but nothing like heavy. But I was like that in college. I didn't like Monday, Friday classes either. So even I need my long weekends, but I think I've always been good at that. Just days that are intense, days that are not.
It's funny because I purposely take the Fridays, like there's no kid activities at all. And I've gotten better at that because before I was like, even if it's one small thing, it's okay, it's doable, but not like a ton of things. And now I'm just like, no, los viernes no. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's book the activities for those days. Friday is chill day and we transition into the weekend. It makes it a little easier to really kind of just relax and kick into the relaxation mode. Everyone's probably like, but you stay home. You're a work from home mom. You're a stay-at-home mom with your kids. There's still a lot of stuff to do. A lot of things to do. So even with then, the Fridays just feel a little more like, okay, relaxed. I want the kids to get home from school and feel like it is the weekend. It's going to be chill, or prepare the Friday to relax, to kick in for Saturday activities, and then Sunday otra vez a relajarnos. I wanted to say that before we jumped into this conversation about good and bad, I wanted to talk about some excitement because I'm like, right now I'm in my car, right? I'm in my car recording from my car, so if I sound a little bit different to our audience, I me disculpan si vous plaît, but it's because I left in the morning, and it's not like I was in a complete rush. I mean, I left with my coffee, me traje mi panecito to do the kid drop-offs and have my coffee and my snacks. But I, for some reason, thought I had my keys with me, my house keys and everything, because I had my key fob for my car and not the keys to the house. But I thought the keys to the house were in my car already because of the second trip. I took the two kids first, that go in at 8, and then I came back for Archie and Maura to take them to school, and then Maura to my parents. So I never really have this happen to me where I lock myself out of the house. So on my drive to drop off the kids, I just got really excited about the Dodgers winning the World Series, you guys. It is so exciting that LA, so this is not relevant, but I need to share it because it's so impactful right now in my gut. I just feel so happy and joyous because, not just because the LA Dodgers won the World Series, but that's the big reason that the city is in celebration mode. And I've been driving around town, so from Compton all the way through to my parents' house in Watts. But everywhere I've looked, I turn my head, there's like people dressed in Dodger gear, jumping, waiting for the bus to head down to the parade or to the stadium. I don't know where they're going, but they're like in celebration mode. People look happy. Like even since yesterday, going to the grocery store, like my neighbors were wearing, their Dodger gear, wearing their champion, jackets. So they're like, LA makes champions, and they have their Lakers jacket, half Lakers, half, Dodgers. but just the excitement that se siente. And I feel like sometimes we just need that win, right? So I think that win also comes with getting better at the things that we're not great at. So, or that was something that we're bad at. So for me, I'm going to share really quickly one of those things that I think for me recently I wasn't great at it before. I improved it. And then recently I've had a little bit of a side distraction, but it's been money. Things have gotten more expensive. I'm not just responsible for myself. We have a family of, it's a family of 6. We have 4 little ones, that everyone needs, they each have similar needs, but very different needs at the same time. Our kids are in activities. Like, we're trying to stay as active as possible. And with that, I feel like the worst thing that I am good at, the worst thing I'm good at is food. Like, I'm terrible at food. I mean, I don't waste it, but I waste a lot of money. So much money goes into our food for the month, right? So when we make our money plan and when we go over our budget, that is our biggest expense is food. And, sometimes my husband travels for work. Sometimes I'm home and I'm so busy that I do order out a lot. But one thing I started kicking into was like, I talked to my husband. I was like, Otto, you know what I need to do? I need to go back to a simple, basic system. So this week, my husband just right now handed me $2,000 in cash. And he goes, I need to go back to the cash system, because for me, if I don't have it in cash, I can't spend it. And it's something that I have to kind of be really hard on myself with para agarrar la onda otra vez, because money's no joke. Like, right now, we all know times are tough. So for me, it is the food budget. Because rápido me quiero ir a agarrar una delicious salad que me cuesta $20, right? Or if I go grab a quick Happy Meal for the kids, that's already, before it used to be, $15? Now it's like $40. When you grab just McDonald's or something simple. So for me, I've had to go back to basics, in the sense of, like, it's something I worked on and improved that recently I've been challenged to regain some focus on. So I had to go back to my methods, to the basics. I'm like, you know what? I just need to go on the cash system again when it comes to food. So right now, I'm going to, the plan was to get back, start recording, and divvy up my money for the month of November into little envelopes to carry that with me, because I just can't swipe it anymore. And that's where I'm improving. I am the terrible, terrible person when it comes to food aspect, but I need to improve it. And that's happening like now as we speak. Irene and Ceci, what is something that you ladies feel that you've been bad at, that you have improved, or you're still working on? Is there something in particular that comes to mind?
I can share, but I was also thinking about you, Vero. A lot of us are bad at swiping it when it comes to food, because I know that I am. Did I send you guys that funny thing where the guy's at Costco and he's like, buying my weekly spinach para que se me pudren la pinche hielera?
Sí.
That is so freaking relatable, Vero. That's the story of my life. I buy too much food. We don't eat it. Diego literally sent the kids a text today that was, hi, hope you had a great Halloween, because one of them's not even here. And he gave the chores to the first one, and my son, who's not home because he said he was at a sleepover. And my daughter got the chore, which she loves. She loves reorganizing things, but she got the chore of cleaning up the fridge and throwing everything that's like rotten, because that's the story of our lives. We have to be better about that all the time. But also, I'm glad that first of all, I couldn't carry cash. Like, I feel like lo gasto más. So use what works for you. I'm proud of you for having your little envelope system, and you're not going to spend it if you don't have it in cash. But we all have to be better about not, throwing literally our money away, right? Because we buy things and we throw them away. So one thing I did to adjust for that is I no longer get that damn box from Imperfect Produce, which is now called Misfit something. No sé qué chingados. Se me pudría todo.
Yes, like, random stuff.
It. Yeah, I'm like, these sweet potatoes have lived here for too long. It's like a science experiment in my fridge. Terrible. And you want to feel good. You want to feel like, oh, I bought my kids fresh fruits. Las pinche bananas all get thrown away or turned into fucking bread, because no one eats the bananas. They turn black, and then you can make banana bread that's caloric and delicious with walnuts and chocolate. So yeah, I haven't gotten better at that. Let me keep it real. We waste a lot of food, and my husband doesn't like being wasteful when it comes to food. He grew up where it was very limited, and he'll eat it for the kids. Like I've told you guys before, he'll eat the food that's rotten. It's terrible. I'm not being literal. He will eat questionable things. So Vero, I feel you on that. I really feel you on that. I'm a fan of the $20, $25 salad. We're also from California, so to our listeners, do not judge us if you're in a state that does not sell you a $25 salad. They're so good. Están carísimas.
They're delicious.
And everyone says you can make the salad at home, but you can't make the salad at home if you opened up your fridge y se te pudrió tus espinacas. Am I right, Ceci? Am I right? Ceci's like, she's right. She's right.
I
All
want to
right,
say
so
something
enough
real quick
about
to both
that.
of you.
Go
I want
for
to say
it.
something real quick to both of you. I am like so relieved that las dos were like, esta pinche caja del imperfect produce. Because you girls talked about it so
We
much.
talked
And I
about
was like,
it all the time.
I'm
I
over
was
that
like
bitch.
Me too.
in the mirror and being like, I am a terrible person. I should be buying like these fresh fucking chingaderas, even if they're
No, you
imperfect.
shouldn't.
Look at these women. You know, I look up to you ladies. You guys know that. Like I do. Like there's so many things that you do better than I do. So I look to you both. So I'm so glad you guys shared that because I was like, acá giving myself such a hard time for not having penis looking carrots and fucking sweet potatoes. You know what I'm saying?
Pero don't even get it twisted because pinche imperfect produce, Vero. Like I started out buying the produce, pero venden de todo. My last couple of boxes was like freaking seltzer that I shouldn't be drinking, freaking crackers, venden de todo. That's why they changed the damn name. It's not just produce. So my shit was becoming awesome snacks que tenía. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna give you guys my money to buy crackers. Ya valió. Ya valió.
Yeah.
So, Vero,
Yeah.
see how we can't compare? We really don't know what's going on. But I got tired of that damn caja not being fully used. I think during the pandemic, it was easier. It was cool. I got into it. I was cooking. But if you're not cooking, se te va a echar a perder. So you have to be real. But you're right, Vero. Like we look like we were doing the damn thing. But then it was crackers and soda and freaking me and Isaiah would pick like random juices from there because nos antojaban. That wasn't produce.
Yes,
right?
I would do
Ceci?
that too. I was like, oh, that looks good. Or it would like, it would give you like recommendations. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to try that.
No longer produce. So none of us are good. So if you're listening to this and you're a
Thank you so much.
nutritionist, we fail
Thank
you. Actually, Ceci is good with vegetables.
I was just see anything. I mean, well, Irene, you really didn't share if there was
Yeah,
something.
you're right. You're right. I should segue back to this. It has nothing to do with my produce. One thing that I was sharing with the girls that I used to be really bad at was like solving my tech problems because I always had like someone that can solve it for me. Like at work, there's always like a tech person, or my husband's always been pretty techy, and it's like, okay, I don't want to solve this tech issue. Like it's not my strength. And the other day, someone noticed that our podcast wasn't on Spotify. There were like 4 episodes missing or something. And that day, funny enough, 4 different people mentioned it, maybe 3 different people. But then Ceci said another person had mentioned it. So fueron 4. So I was like, okay, this is for real. What's going on with Spotify? And I immediately, my husband wasn't home. He was at his golf tournament that he does at Topgolf once a week. And I immediately texted him and I was like, something's going on with my Spotify. Can you help me troubleshoot this when you get home or tomorrow? We don't have to do it today because he gets home late. And he was like, yeah, of course. Because he already knows, like, my wife's going to ask me to help her troubleshoot this. And then because my other thing that I'm not bad at, I'm pretty good at is like, just do it now personality. I'm like, well, let me just send an email. Let me just ask. So I asked Vero, like, can you see it? And Vero's like, actually, I can't see it either. I'm like, okay, if there's a lot of us that can't see it, then it isn't a personal thing with a personal phone. Let me just email Spotify. So, by the way, shout out to Spotify. They emailed me right back. So then I fell down this rabbit hole because they were like, for podcasters, we have a chat and they'll help you right away. So because again, my strength is just do it now. Ya se lo había dado a mi esposo. I know he'll figure it out the next day. He's an angel. He's good at that stuff. He's patient. I was like, let me see what they say. And then the lady starts asking me questions about the file. And I knew what she was freaking talking about. I knew everything, you guys. I'm like, I've done this enough. Again, nothing was like, I don't know what she's talking about. In the past, to be like, babe, what is that? Or how does that work? Or I don't know this about the internet. Or I don't know. And I was like, yeah, I know what that is. I know I can change that. I know how to download it. And my husband walks in and he's like, so what's going on with Spotify? And I was like, oh, I'm just fixing it right now. He's like, I thought I would do it for you. I'm like, yeah, she just told me what to do. I know how to do it. I know how to download the file, transfer the file. It's simple. I know how to re-upload it. The only thing is like our stats will be different. I was like, we'll survive. We don't care. It's like any post. It's like you take it down, you put it back up. So I did it all. And I'm like, man, that is something I used to be so bad at. Technology and troubleshooting technology. And I've gotten better, y'all. I've gotten like the patience. I've gotten like the steps down. No me desespero. I also don't feel, I can just give it to this person who can figure it out and they're good at it. Like I am good at it. I can do it. I've done this enough. I do this every week. I can do it. And it wasn't from a place of like, I'm not going to ask my husband. It was from like, I just fell down this rabbit hole. Like, I know that answer. I know that answer. Oh, it's done. Okay, fix it. I closed my laptop. He's like, that's cool. Like you got it all done. I was like, yeah, I thought it was going to be a little more involved and something where we're like behind the scenes because he really knows the internet and like websites. But I was like, it was pretty straightforward. I could fix it. But that, Vero, I've gotten a lot better with troubleshooting technology, being patient, asking questions of people that are there to do the job. So shout out to Spotify, shout out to their podcasting chat, which was super duper helpful. And shout out to all the listeners who thought that we had just been sleeping on our podcast for a month. What, have you met us? We don't take time off. We are devoted.
I know.
I even told our comadre, I totally said, no, tell that girl. We have episodes. Jen and I are over here. Like, tell her to look on Apple.
I know. I know.
Anyway, so that's something I've gotten better at. What about you, Ceci?
Oh my God, same thing as Vero, money. Yes, I'm glad we stopped doing that box because and then I would forget. Like you have to select what you were gonna order by a certain date and I would forget and I would get a box of random stuff that would just sit in like a random like it looked like a you guys have probably seen this. It's a like cauliflower, but it's green and it's pokey. Have you guys seen that? Yeah. I'm like, what is that? Right?
Okay.
So anyway, so I'm glad we're doing that. We also are, bad with the food aspect in that we'll buy stuff and then it's like maybe it's at the way back and then no one sees it in the refrigerator and it goes bad. But one little tip that I discovered recently, TJ, what is it? Trader Joe's, TJ Maxx, Trader Joe's sells small bags of like spinach, arugula, the romaine lettuce. Some of them already chopped, and so I made a salad the other day, and it's just like I was just throwing random stuff in it, including I bought some rabanitos because I got the idea from the brunch.
Oh,
And I was just throwing stuff in it and like, chopped carrots. I had celery, we always have celery and carrots are like always a staple in our house. So I put it all together and it was delicious. So I'm trying to be también more mindful about not letting go to waste. But when it comes to, the money, I think because like, I don't know, I'm not good at math and I feel like something needs to switch there or I need to make it switch because just when it comes to numbers, like no sé, I don't know what it is. I just sometimes I don't get it, or sometimes I'm like, oh, I dread it. I think that's what it is. I dread it. I'm like, oh, I have to like add this stuff up. I need to figure this out. Even when it's not even money. Like the other day, I was trying to figure out how many deliverables for the month of November we needed for each of the 3 grants at work. And I was like, okay, how do I do this? I'm like, all right, how many do we have so far? How many do we need for a year? And then divide it. I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, cool. And I'm like, wait, why did last month? I'm like, oh, I must have done something wrong last month where I thought the goal was lower, but thank God we went above. Anyway, I think it's just numbers that I'm bad with that I just, whether it be, stuff at work, whether it be money, whether it be my budget, I just need to get better. And then on the same page as you, Vero, I don't know that cash would work for me, but I need to be better at sticking to my budget because I have a budget. I do have a budget for just like spending, but I never follow it. Some months I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to be good about it. And then like mid-month, I forget. I think because, we tried to, husband just walked in. We try to like sit down together a couple times a year and like, all right, let's look at the budget. Let's look at what we're doing. And that's because like we live in an expensive city. We send our girls to private school. So it's like, all these little expenses that yes, we make good money, but we're investing. I'll say investing into our girls' education and, living comfortably in a city. But, it's like a lot of the little things that we need to take into account when it comes to our budget, when it's that extra money for our own, like, pleasure expenses, like I need to be more mindful about that because I forget. And then con el tarjetazo, I'm just going to swipe it. Oh, and then now I'm like, oh, I'm going to get points. I'm just going to pay it with a credit card, So I'm trying to get better about that.
I think too, though, I would like to say this as a tip of the day for everybody. When we say things we were bad at that we're better, I don't ever want anybody to like listen to the episode and feel bad. Like, oh, I got to do that. I feel bad about myself, right? I don't think you're bad with numbers, by the way, Sissy. I think you have to care about something adequately. Like it's not something you care about. And you're not necessarily bad at it. But I'm sure if there was something really good out of it that made a lot of sense and you're interested in it, you'd be really great with the numbers. So sometimes it's just a matter of, is this important to me or not? I don't want anyone to feel like I'm just bad with numbers or whatever. Because I think they say that with like 7th grade girls, when someone tells you you're bad at math, you believe that the rest of your life. And that has always really stuck with me. And I hate that happens to us as women. Like we just think that I'm bad with time. I'm bad with numbers. It's not something we like. With the thing that I was telling you guys about tech, I've always had someone, I can kind of give it to someone else, but I can do it. Like I looked at the good thing about me. I can do it now. That's the good thing, right? I can do it now. So find the good thing in the things that quote unquote you're bad at. Because I think it's a matter of finding the thing that'll make you be excited about it. Your budget, for instance, that's the tip of the day. If you are trying to get better with your money, like the girls had 2 examples of that, or you're trying to get better with your patience on something like technology, work on it. But don't feel bad about it. Like work on it. Like a budget is a really good thing to work on. You're always kind of reinventing it, Do what's going to work for you in your budget. Cash system for Vero, way to go. Point system for Ceci, way to go. Whatever is going to excite you about your money and focus on that. I think not that you're bad with money. Focus on this will get me excited about money and I want to spend my money on these things, or I want to get the credit card points, or for me, it was like the high interest savings account, right? Like the 5% you're going to get at the end of the month. That's exciting to me. So it's like, oh, I want to put as much money as I can in that because it grows, find the thing that's going to get you excited. The sales, the couponing. I have a niece that's like super good at couponing. Then it's not the story about like, I'm bad with money. Like I'm good with budgeting or saving, or change the money narrative. Maybe you're not the person that has the Excel sheet. Like I'm not that person. That's my husband. He's very good at tracking the in and out. That's his strength. But I'm very good at the
same.
People love that stuff, Vero. People love it. And that's your strength, girl. Mine is tell me the black and white. This is in, this is out. These are the 3 pots. Okay. And I will like be religious. Do it. But I will never use the spreadsheet. It doesn't, no me nace. So neither one of us is bad. Vero's not bad. I'm not bad. We literally use 2 different systems that work for us.
It's more of like you lose track of things. It's like when we work with clients, we'd say like, okay, well, let's track your expenses, right? In this case, it's money, but it's with any behavior that we have. Like, what is it that's, let's see where you're spending your time. If it means a time log, if it means money tracking, if it means reviewing your statements, and whatever thing that you need to improve on. Like for me, I don't feel I'm bad at money. I feel I'm bad at the way I use it to splurge on food. That is ridiculous. So I think that it's my behavior towards food. I think that I am a 42-year-old woman that's 200 pounds, but technically is like 3,000 pounds with the way I spend money. And it's crazy on food, the way I spend money on food. And it's like, oh crap. But if you look at my food, I have a little bit of everything. I have, vegetables and fruits in this. So it really is finding what works for you and the things that you need a little assistance in. So for me, it was really going back to basics of like, I want to see it, the tangibles, right? I wanted something that is, it's something that, ¿cómo se dice? When you sell something that you can't touch, it's tangible, right?
I think you're trying to say like intangible. Intangible means like,
if I use my card for things, all right, I might review the statement, but even then it's like at the store, I'd be like, okay, well, we still have the credit limit of this. Let's go for it. So I think it's to be more aware of where your time is going, of where your money's going, of where your energies, whatever it is, right? So that's why I'm like, okay, if this is the money we have allotted towards food or towards travel or towards, this is what goes to it. I'm not going to dip into my fun bucket again, because I now we have to go look for more free stuff to do. And that's fine. You find a way to make it work, but it's more of like, okay, what do I need to do to remind myself that this is something we work hard for? This money that I'm seeing, and if it's not in my purse for this, then it's just, I don't get to buy it. I don't get to spend it on that. And it's not that I'm giving myself, me estoy regañando. It's more of like, well, better luck next week when your budget starts all over again. Be more wise in your decisions. Be more intentional with your spending. Be more intentional with the way you do X, Y, Z. So I think it's more of that. And it happens, it happens in our 20s and our 30s and our 40s. And it's consistent. Like we're consistently growing, and adapting to new situations. Like our current situation, just in general for everyone across the board. This podcast is going to come out right after the elections, right? November 5th. So I hope all of you went out to vote for what you believe in, for the things that you like. It's so impactful because we normally don't talk about politics in our podcast, but some people are saying like, my life isn't different than 4 years ago and my life hasn't changed. And this is why I'm voting like this. And the thing is that so many things happen. Like if you think about life in the last 4 years that were unprecedented, that were uncontrollables, the world was like, being God, like, oh, here are your plans, life, or these are your plans, people on earth. Well, here's what the universe has, because this is what's happening in the world. So I think that if anything, that we are the ones to create that change. So we have to be really aware of like the things that we want, the things that we really need, and find a way to make it work for us. And I think that's exactly what you said earlier, Irene. It's finding something that works for you, because we're not all the same. We might have the same issues, but it's not, we can't address it or attack it the same way,
Absolutely. And I think that's like for anybody listening, if there's something you want to get better at, really do some soul searching, research all the different ways that people have gotten better at it. We didn't even really scratch the surface on anything professional, but Like, you're not going to be like other professionals in your space. You're all going to have unique strengths. And I think in my organization, I really love to tug on people that like, that's their gift. Let them have it. Let them shine at it. Let them do their thing. Even with their hobbies. Like, I have a staff member who loves stationery. She loves dope pens. She's like really into the feeling when she's writing and has the most beautiful penmanship. And I'm like, okay, other than being in charge of buying all our supplies, because I know you're going to get me like the dopest pen that ever existed, because she's like our assistant in our programs. I also would love for her to use that as her skill. So it's like, what else can we give her that we know she's going to have the eye for it? Don't give it to the person that's not going to design a beautiful certificate and do it at the last minute, because that's not their strength. Give it to her. That girl likes doing stuff like that. We have a few different staff that you could send to buy things, you know, because different staff have different roles. I love sending her. It's like, well, I'm going to send her to Michael's because I know she's going to love going to Michael's. She don't know that I do that on purpose. But I needed a frame. And I was like, you want to go to Michael's to get this frame? I know she's going to want to do that. She's probably going to be at Michael's for 3 hours buying stuff personally, buying stuff for the office we don't need. But it's like, that's that girl's gift. And that's such a little thing, right? I just brought up a little example. But on a great scheme of things, like if you see someone that's a leader, give them people that report to them. They should be running like intern programs. If you see someone that is a talker, give them the job that is cold calling. And that seems straightforward, by the way, but too many people are in offices where they're not doing the thing that they're good at naturally. And then they're feeling bad about themselves. Do more of what you love. And then when you see the other people say, oh, I'm bad at this, team them up with people that have opposite strengths. I think that's really cool. That's not your favorite thing to do? Well, then work with me. Like Ceci always says it. She's not necessarily going to want to be the talker like Vero and I will be. So it's like, we have to be teamed together. Like she's like, oh, I don't want to go to that event and speak from the stage, but you guys will. So then I'll do it. So then no one thinks you're bad at it. Ceci, like you went there and people really resonated with what you said and they loved your story and they remembered it. But Ceci was like, I'm not going to go to the stage and talk from the stage. That's more your thing, girls. No, you did great. You prepared. You killed. But you wouldn't have wanted to do it alone. So you have to find what works for you. Like we know Ceci's not going to want to do it alone, but Ceci's going to kill up there. Ceci's going to prepare. Ceci's going to show up and be good. Now you might have a friend that's like, definitely not going to kill up there. Don't fool yourselves and like, be like, girl, you're right. Don't get up on a stage, girl. That's not you, Ceci. So find the team, find the way to work at it. And then I think, I really mean this and I feel this from life, then you're going to get better. You're probably a better speaker now, Ceci, than you were 5 years ago. And
yes, I feel like
right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm better at technology than I was 5 years ago. And Vero is better at whatever her thing, right, is as running a business like this and coaching. And I think probably as a coach, we don't sit in her personal coaching, but I'm sure all of us have grown like our expertise at coaching, right? And I read your testimonials. I know you're both good. Each of us being in it and being together are going to make each other better. So I do think this whole idea of being bad, you get better with the people you're around, doing what you love, because you get to also shine. So you can, shine the other thing. Like, okay, maybe that's not my strength, but this one is. So let me do more of this. And then also forcing yourself to improve, like forcing yourself to be in situations like we talked about the example with Ceci that allow you to improve, allow you to get better.
And we've said this before, just to continue that. It's like confidence comes from doing these things. It comes from practice. It comes from, you might be born with a little more confidence than someone else, but in doing, crece esa confianza, your fe, your belief in your own self and what you can accomplish. So keep doing that damn thing. If right now your thing is like, oh my God, I'm so good at being bad, then if you want to improve that, you're going to get better. It's going to be like, oh, I'm kind of good at being bad. And you know what? I'm not as bad as I used to be. And now I'm like, I'm just really good now, period. So it's all a process. Give yourself that time, give yourself the opportunity to blossom into that full version of you, be it the tech skill.
Can I say something a little bit like naughty? Let's do that.
What?
Did I send you guys a bunch of videos on purpose of that girl that kept saying vulgar things to her man to get the reaction?
She's hilarious.
Did you guys having to scroll down her page where someone on a podcast was like, how'd you feel about the fact that you started being this way? Like, that's her content. Like, she says gross things to her hubby. Like, what can I say right here? Who cares? This is like, this isn't for kids, this podcast, but she's like, I would love for it to be Halloween so that I could dress like a bunny and like bounce on your carrot.
Yes.
I said it in Spanish,
yes.
Right? And he's like, oh, and he gets all like flustered, and I'm sure it's her shtick. But someone asked her, like, how do you feel about that? Like when your family said that you were going to do content like that, because Vettel said like good at being bad. She's like, who I love and who I care about is in my corner. They don't care. I'm going to say these jokes. And this girl's like laughing her ass to the bank, I'm sure. And I'm sure if my mom, my tia, anybody, so I got my vecina saw me talking like that, it'd be like, dang, this is vulgar and disgusting. But entre ellos, it works. Her and her man look happy. It's a shtick. It's a joke. She's making money. She's growing her content. So like Vero said, she's being bad and she's good at being bad. And now she's like leaning into being bad. Like her jokes are so raunchy and so funny. I could go on and on repeating them right now. I can't believe I translated that one like perfectly. Clearly I memorized that
Yeah,
joke.
you did. You memorized that
I'm like,
one. That's funny because that's the one I was thinking about. That's the one I was thinking about.
That's the one. And I love that she catches her man like at random ass points. Like she's in the Walmart parking lot. He's like putting the groceries and she's like, ooh, I wish it was Halloween so I can ride that carrot. And he's like, oh, I don't want me. No. And con mi mamá no te metas. Like he says one about the mom. That was so funny. But anyway, good at being bad, girl. She's doubling down. She probably posted one thing that went a little too far. And she was like, you know what? This works for me. I'm going to post about these gross things every day. And people can judge it all they want. She's putting herself out there. She's doing something, quote unquote, other people would label as a bad thing, but really she's funny. She's vulgar and it gets views and I'm sure it's going to get money. She's going to have a apparel later that, mark my words, that girl's going to go viral even more so than she already has because she only had like 20 posts on her thing. Like she just started this shtick, but she's leaning into that. What homegirls say to each other anyway, the way we talk to each other in private anyway. But what she had to do is like be bold and be bad outwardly where the world had to see her, be herself, be someone would call it bad. She's calling it funny, right? Someone would call it bad. She's calling it honest, right? Who gets to decide what the hell is bad? Anyway, she's gotten better being bad. Speaking of Vero's point.
You go be a bad girl. Yeah.
Now my mom would die. My mom would die if she heard something like that. Like that is my religious mama that I can't even like say one bad word in front of will die. But luckily, that's not what I do for a living. And my mom ain't paying that girl's bills.
You know, it's so funny because I'm so grateful for people like that. I'm so grateful for it because you know how we always say, you know, well, I say it, we all say it. Like, who cares? Who cares? But we do give fucks. I know that some of us, we've had said before, I give 0 fucks. No, we give some fucks. We definitely give some fucks or else we would really be out there like that girl, right? Because we can be vulgar. We can be all these things, but we choose to be a little more like, okay, this is not the place or the time for this. Maybe behind closed doors and maybe ranching with my mans, whatever it is. But I'm grateful for that because it shows like, para todo hay algo. For someone, cada cabeza es un mundo. Hay algo para cada quien. And some people might go to it and be offended, like, I can't believe you're doing this. And other people are like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Thank you for saying that because I've thought it. And, you know, so it's like, I'm thankful for people like that when it comes to like thinking of authenticity and like really showing up as you and how hard it can be because we're so concerned about being judged or what people are going to say and all that. So I think, let there be more people like that. Let there be more people like that. Because I think nos animan a nosotras that are kind of borderline, you know? Like, should I go in? Should I jump in or not? Jump in or not? And it's like, we're waiting to jump into the double dutch thing. And then it's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And you jump in, you're like, oh, this feels good. This feels good. And then it's like, all right, maybe I should jump out now. So, que les dé ánimo.
Dude, honestly, Vero, if people knew you really in the stories you tell with your friends, girl, you'd already have a book deal and a stand-up comedy show. Vero's one of the funniest, wittiest, perfectly timed. You do measure yourself because you're like, oh, I got these little kids at home trying to get a job. I don't know why. Why am I putting words in your mouth? But you do. I'm going to save this for my friends, right? But honestly, like Vero's one of those people that like, I love your humor. I love how refreshing you are. I love how charismatic you are. Yeah, like you need to start your TikTok. Maybe go faceless, but like bring your humor to that TikTok and you're going to watch that blow up because Vero's actually quite hilarious. And the story she could tell of the life she's lived. Oh my God, perfect.
Well, with that, we leave you.
I'm so glad that the one thing we were all really bad at was podcasting and look at us now. Pretty damn good.
Yes. Look at us now.
Look at us.
If anyone's out there listening that wants to be our producers and sponsor our show and have us, you know, rolling the dough, we downs for that too. We are downs for that. So give us a call, send us an email, or you know where to find us on social media. You can find us at Level Up Latina. You can find everything about Vero, Ceci, and Irene, or Irene, Ceci, Vero, Vero, Ceci, Irene, Vero, however it is you want to do it. You can go to leveluplatina.com, learn about our Guilt-Free Squad community. We are a growing community. We love and support every mujer that's come through the door. We talk about everything and anything there. You know, it brings a podcast to life and it's a great place to learn, grow, and just be ourselves as well. Getting ready for the holidays. And if something in this conversation sparked your interest and you want to continue the conversation, contact us. You can find us at Level Up Latina, like I said, or email us at admin@leveluplatina.com. and we will get back to you in a jiffy. If you're a business owner or, have a product or a service that you'd like to promote on our podcast, hit us up. We have podcast shout outs. You can also just send a message to your comadres or your homegirls like, hey, we're doing the damn thing. Let's go be bad, and send the message out to them, and they'll feel loved and special and like un abrazo through the airwaves, right? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being such a consistent audience. Las queremos mucho. Se cuidan.
Thank you.